Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tina. For those of you that don't know me, it's great to have you here. So today's video is kind of interesting, kind of different. And I just wanted to share something with you guys that it's kind of funky, kind of just off the wall. It was fun, but it really opened our eyes to some things, I think. And that was kind of the whole purpose of it. So I'm sure you guys are probably in the same boat in a lot of ways when I talk about some of this stuff. So in today's age, everything is electronic. You know, people are on their phones constantly, on their computers, binge watching Netflix on TV. I mean, it's just like it goes on and on and on. And I've said this before, I feel like I am an old soul. I feel like I was born in the wrong era. And that is, I'm just being straight up. Like, you could throw me in a prairie dress and put me in front of a wood-burning stove cooking some bread and I would be happy. You know, it was a hard life back then, but I think in a lot of ways it was simple in a different way, if that makes sense. Because today we are so distracted from the things that are most important, which is our faith and our family, and spending time with both of them. So I started noticing, especially with the pandemic and the lockdowns and shutdowns, that all of us in my family were kind of on our phones a lot more than usual. And we already were doing that a little bit too much before the pandemic hit, but once that started and we were all stuck in the house, it was a lot of time spent scrolling the news and social media, and just binge watching a lot of shows. And it's not to say that there isn't a time and a place for having a movie night, or, you know, things like that, but it's like when that's replacing your family time and that's replacing your time that you should be spending with God and your relationship with Him, that's not good. So I started noticing that, and it started really, I started feeling convicted. It was, God was really working on my heart. And, you know, I love Joe to death, but I don't think that, we're kind of different, and maybe some of you can relate, but for our family, I kind of center us when it comes to, hey, we're getting too far away from God. We're not coming together as a family. We need to start doing this more. We're not doing enough of this. I'm kind of the one that prompts everyone in my family to say, hey, whoa, let's take a second look at this, because this really isn't feeling right. It's not going the way that it should. And so I sat down and talked with Joe one morning. We were sitting out on the rocking chairs on the front porch on our phones, and I just kind of looked at him and I looked at me, and I was like, here we are sitting on these rocking chairs, drinking our coffee, and instead of talking to each other, we're sitting on our phones. And at night, it was kind of coming between us in the evening as well, when we would go to bed, and he would be on his phone and I would be on my phone, and it was just a huge distraction. So, and y'all know, if you got kids, that there is a lot of distractions already, as far as like finding time with your spouse, in that way. So the last thing we needed was to have phones coming between us. And it was definitely taking the place of that quality time that we should have been spending together. So I told Joe, I said, and we had kind of kicked this idea around a couple of times, and I'll tell you, whenever we have a storm and we have a power outage, Parker loves it, because we light the candles, we play hide and seek, we play board games. He just loves it, and he calls it, you know, family candle night. And he would say, I wish that we had candles all the time, Mom. He's like, I wish, you know, we didn't have a TV, like things like that. And so it got me to thinking that maybe we should do an experiment. And we decided to do like a semi off-grid experiment with the family. And I say semi because, you know, all the off-gridders out there, don't, you know, come after me, because clearly it was semi off-grid in the fact that we did not use lights, and we did not use our phones unless it was for work, or, you know, a family text us or something. That was one thing, but it wasn't, there was no scrolling social media. And the other big thing was the TV. The TV went off. You guys, we were watching TV way too much. we would have dinner in the evenings, we would do our cleanup, and then we would sit down to watch our shows. And I'm kind of embarrassed and ashamed to say this, but we would pretty much sit in front of the TV all night until it was bedtime. And a lot of times we were sitting there way past what should have been our bedtime, but we were just binge watching shows. So we were going to bed too late. We were tired the next day. It was affecting our sleep, which affects your mood and everything else. So we cut that out completely, and that was crazy. It was funny. At first when we started it, Parker would go to pick up the remote and I would say, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." So it was really interesting. It was like the first couple days it was exciting and we're like, this is kind of cool, living old school. And then as we got into like week 1 and week 2, it was like, wow, you know, the reality of it set in. And then by like week 3, it just like became the norm. Like it didn't really bother us not to be watching TV. So our goal was to do this for 4 weeks and to see what it did for our family and to see how we felt about it. And I wanted to share with you guys today what we took away from that experiment or experience and what we're doing kind of going forward. So obviously not completely off grid. We still use our washer and dryer, our dishwasher, you know, all those kinds of things. But for me, it was the lights and it was the electronics. I wanted it to just go away to see if we could recenter and refocus our family. So I wanted to share with you guys what we took away from that because it's been kind of eye-opening. It really has. The first thing that we noticed with this experiment was that it saved us money. So I got it was kind of cool the way my billing cycle went for our electric bill. It actually ended the day before we started this, off-grid experiment. And so my next bill that I got was a true reflection of that month that we did not use the TV, we didn't use lights, and things like that. So I will tell you guys, my electric bill was literally cut in half. So normally we spend $300 to $350 a month for electricity, and my electric bill was $159. Like it was just literally cut in half from all of the lights not being on all the time, all of the electronics being on, and all of that. It was insane. I was like, wow, we saved a lot of money. So that was kind of cool. And I actually, if you see me looking down, I've got some notes here so I can stay on topic today. The other thing was better sleep. So I wanted to chat about this because I think this is so important. It's so cool. And I actually did some research on this, and I had no idea some of these things existed, and it's kind of interesting. So when we go throughout our day, at night before we rise, when the morning comes, our body starts producing I call it the daytime hormone, cortisol. Is that right? Yeah, cortisol. Cortisol is like our daytime energy hormone, and that's kind of what gives us that oomph to keep going throughout the day. So we start producing that before we wake up in the morning, and then we go throughout our day. And as we continue to go throughout the day, we start to kind of tucker out a little bit, that cortisol starts to wear off. And then when the dark comes in the evening, when it's time for everything to wind down, your body starts producing the nighttime hormone melatonin. Super cool. I mean, I really never knew this. So the thing is, bright lights stop your body from producing melatonin. So if you kind of compare it to your chickens, if you guys have chickens, in the winter time, the chickens will slow down with their egg laying because it's darker more. And a lot of people put red lights or put lights in their chicken coop to trick their bodies to make them think that there's more light so that they'll continue producing eggs throughout the winter. We don't do that. I feel like God did that for a reason. It's their body's natural cycle to get a break in the wintertime. So we don't put lights in the chicken coop. We let them have that break through the winter, take those couple eggs here and there that we can get, and let them have that rest until springtime. But it's really the same concept with us. So when you're sitting up late at night and you're binge watching TV, or you're scrolling on your phone with those lights right in front of your face, it is tricking your body. And a lot of people that are heavily on electronics, or you're up playing video games all night long, it's just jacking up your natural hormonal cycle. You're not getting good sleep. Sleep is what helps your body to recover from exercising, weightlifting, just the day in general. Sleep is, you lose weight while you're sleeping. So it's really important to shut those lights off, turn the TV off, turn the phone off an hour or two before you go to bed, and read a book or play cards at the table with your family. Allow your body to have that natural time to come down, to produce that melatonin so that it really kicks in when it's bedtime and you can sleep really well. And then when you wake up the next day, you're well rested, right? As a mom, a homeschooling mom, I really need that. I need my rest. So it was really interesting when we started this. Before, Joe and I would be up till 11:30, sometimes a little bit later, even on a weeknight if we were watching certain shows. And we wouldn't realize we were tired because we're just so into like what we're doing. It really does trick your body until you turn it off and you go to bed and you're like, well, I'm like super tired, and you just didn't realize it. So what was neat is immediately within like the first week of no lights and no TV and all of that, it would be like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and we would be like tired. I'm serious, you guys, like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Like, what time is it? And we would look at the clock and it would be like 8 or 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the evening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's midnight. Like I'm exhausted. I could literally take a shower and I could just go to bed right now. I'm so tired. And it's because that melatonin was really kicking into gear. And our body got into that natural cycle, which is the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be up all night long. So it was really interesting to see how our bodies kind of started getting in line with that. It was really neat. So because of that, we started going to bed earlier. I don't know about you guys, but I would feel like if I went to bed early, I felt like I was missing out on something. It's like the stupidest thing, but I felt like I was missing out on something. Like, I don't even know. So I would try to stay up as late as I could. And I've always kind of been a night owl. I get a lot of my real estate work and paperwork and things like that done late at night. And so I just always have been that way. But this really helped me to slow down and realize, you know what? If you go to bed earlier when your body's telling you to, you can wake up earlier and you'll be ready to go, and you can get a lot of that stuff done in the morning the way that it's supposed to be, which is good because Parker's still asleep, the house is quiet, and I have like that time to really focus on what I'm doing. So the other thing that I took away from that experience, was family time. You guys, we got a lot done. Like, you have this big to-do list and you feel like you never get it done. And it's like, we got like almost everything done. And I'm talking like projects. Like, we have 2 sweet puppies. One of them is rescue from the shelter. One of the best dogs we've ever had, but he has like separation anxiety. So whenever we leave the house, we have to kennel him or he will eat the house. Like, eat the house. Like, he ate our stairs, he ate a bed, he ate our sectional. He will eat anything. So he has to be kenneled. So when we moved into this house, we have our stairs by the front door, and there's like just this empty space underneath it. And Joe was like, wouldn't it be cool if we can convert that empty space that's like not even being used into a dog kennel? And so that's what we did. It's pretty neat. So whenever we leave, Ollie just gets put in his kennel under the stairs and he can't eat anything. And it also helps because we don't have this big kennel sitting somewhere in the house. Like, it's just there out of the way, and it was space that was already there but not being used. So that was something we wanted to do when we moved in the house, and we never got around to it, and we got it done. So that's pretty cool. Another thing is the greenhouse. If you haven't seen our new greenhouse video, it's just like 1 or 2 videos back. Go check it out. That was pretty neat. Joe and I were out there working our little heinies off, getting that greenhouse done. So that was fun. We went on a camping trip with Parker and got to just spend that time with him out there, which is something we haven't done in probably like a year and a half. So that was pretty neat. We started playing games as a family. We have like this big like farmhouse bowl that I have that has cards and like Yahtzee and all these games in it. And you guys, it's like out. my games and cards used to be tucked away in the office closet, and that was like something we did once in a while. Well, we started playing games and cards every night. Like that was our thing. We're playing Yahtzee with the kids. We were playing cards with the kids. Dinner around the kitchen table with the lantern lit. It just kind of produced this warm, welcoming environment that made us all want to kind of stay around the table even longer. So that was kind of neat. Just telling stories, laughing, and another thing is reading. I have never been much of a reader. I've always tried to read books and then I set it down and I never finish it. Well, oh my gosh, you guys, this is just 2 of them. My nightstand is just covered with books. These are 2 that I've been reading recently and I really love them. This is France to Farm, written by Parisian farm girl Angela Reed, an amazing book. And then also the Elliott Homestead Seasons at the Farm. So just a lot of these fun books that I normally wouldn't read. I've just been reading like crazy. I'll sit down in the evening with my lantern on the stand next to the couch and I'll read, or before I go to bed, I'll read. And reading to Parker has been something else that we've started doing in the evenings, and just reading chapter books. And it's kind of funny, like Joe will lay on the floor with the pillow and even Joe's listening. So I'm reading and Joe and Parker are listening. Lexi, being 18, of course, wasn't too fond of this idea of no lights and no TV. And so what I told her is, your room is upstairs. She is the only room on the 2nd story of the house. And I said, what you do in your room is you. Like if you want to have your lights on, you want to watch your TV, you do you. But when you come downstairs, this is what we're doing as a family. So, you know, she would flip on the light in the laundry room and we're all like, no lights. And she'd be like, oh, and she'd turn the light off, you know. I did find some really beautiful antique lanterns, super inexpensive. I found one at the Goodwill and then I found a couple at an antique store. And so we bought big gallon-sized jugs of kerosene from Amazon, and that's what we, you know, used for the lanterns. So it lasted a long time, but that's what I did for lighting. We didn't really use candles much. We mainly used lanterns just because the oil burns so much longer. And it was interesting, the first night I had to take a shower, and it was like, even with the lantern on the bathroom counter, it was like super dark in the shower itself. And I'm like, I need to shave my legs. Like I can't see. How did Mama Ingalls do this? I don't understand. So Joe put a little candle in the shower, and I'm like, you guys, if you have never showered in a candlelight, you need to give it a try. There's a reason that Ma Ingalls and Pa Ingalls use candles, okay? Because it makes it all look good. I mean, you don't see the wrinkles, you don't see the cellulite, you don't see all the whatever flaws you think you have. I mean, everything looks better in candlelight. So, really give it a try. And it'll feel weird at first, but you get used to it. And then after you've been doing it so long, when you flip on a regular light bulb, or God forbid fluorescent lighting, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just light sensitivity. That artificial light is so blinding. And I used to get major headaches from sitting in a cubicle for hours, because that used to be my job, with fluorescent lights on. So I think the other thing that I took away from this was just a lower stress level. With the pandemic and all the political crap going on right now in our country, you know, with social media in your face, you really can't get out of it, you can't get away from it. And even if you guys don't think so, subconsciously it has an effect on us. Or it did me anyway. So I just spent more time with my family, just, you know, chilling out, having a cup of coffee, reading some books, cooking some new recipes I had never done. And I was just in the kitchen a lot, and that's what I love anyway. So it's just a huge stress reliever. It kind of like disconnects you from the world. Being able to slow down and just kind of refocus our family was pretty neat. It was amazing to see how much time we weren't spending together. So what we have decided to do, and I don't even know if I can say we decided, it was kind of like an unspoken thing. We've kind of continued this. So during the week, we don't watch any TV at all. On the weekends, we allow ourselves to splurge a little bit, and Joe and I might watch a show or two, and we'll let Parker watch like a cartoon or something. But during the week, we don't even watch TV. It's, you know, work, school, dinner, cards, playing games at the table, reading books, just getting stuff done that we need to get done. And the other thing was I did incorporate a couple of lights in the house, but they are the dim amber lighting. So this is a really neat, I don't know if it's antique. I actually found it at the Goodwill, super cheap. It was like $4, but it looks like a lantern, but it's got a light bulb in it. So it's just a dim light, you know, it's not like this huge bright light, 60 watt, you know. So I do have this light in my bedroom that in the evening I turn on, provides light to the bedroom and kind of a little bit of light to the bathroom. We have our candle in the shower that we use, and then we have a lantern in the bathroom as well. And I do have an amber light like this on the kitchen counter, and I do have one overhead above the sink, and that's like the extent of it. So we haven't used any of the other lights. So we're still using the lanterns. I think we've just really gotten used to it, and I'm grateful. And I think, you know, when I first brought up this idea of doing this, I was afraid that my family was going to think I was crazy, because I'm just like that. I'll get this wild idea and I want to do it. And I wonder often if people think I'm crazy, but I have to say we had a lot of fun doing it, and I think we're going to continue to do it. And I would encourage you guys, you know, maybe if you don't do the whole no lights, no electronics, I would just encourage you maybe to sit down with your family if you kind of feel the way I was feeling, and have a discussion about it and refocus, recenter. Look at the things that are taken away from your family and away from your relationship with God. Because you guys, you know, God says that we can't serve two masters, right? And when God says thou shalt not worship idols, or you know, an idol is really anything that you serve, that you love more than God. And so anything that's taken the place of that is potentially an idol. And I really truly feel like the phones and the electronics, social media, those things become an idol to us. You know, there was a lot of times where, you know, my morning time with God, my prayer, my Bible reading, I would disobediently pick up my phone, which I shouldn't even pick it up and go on to Facebook, because the second I do, I'm like, ugh, it's like it just sucks you in, you know, you're like hypnotized. And before you know it, it's been 30, 45 minutes later, and I'm still sitting on Facebook, and now Parker's awake, ready to start school, and I didn't even get my time in with Jesus. So we can't serve two masters. And so if you're feeling like you're not having enough quality time with your family, if you're feeling like you're not having enough quality time with your spouse, I want to encourage you to reevaluate that with your family. And I want to say too, so many times we say there's not enough time in the day. There's not enough time. Oh, there's not enough time. There is enough time. You guys, I'm telling you, this experience has shown me that there's more time in the day than I thought. If you turn the TV off, if you get off social media, there's a lot more time in the day. A lot. You would be surprised how much you sit in front of a TV or on your phone. And you know, the iPhones now give you the screen time updates that show you how much screen time you've been using. That was pretty interesting too, to see what we were doing every day on our phones versus what we were doing when we started this experiment. It was crazy. I was kind of embarrassed and ashamed that I was on my phone that much. I honestly didn't realize it sometimes. So we started this, and you know, we looked like old Little House on the Prairie people. Whenever we would go into a room, here we are carrying our lantern in there. But before you know it, you get used to it. And then we kind of incorporated a lantern in each room, so we weren't having to carry the lanterns. You know, in the beginning we only had a couple, and now we have lanterns in all the rooms, and plenty of kerosene and plenty of wick. We went and bought like bulk packages of the wick for the lanterns. So you know, we don't even have to, we don't think about it now. It's just like, hey Joe, can you fill this lantern up? The oil's out. You know, even Parker, he has a little candle in his bathtub that he uses when he takes a bath. And I think it's funny, they say it takes 21 days to develop a new habit. And I really think that's true, because like I said, the first few days, the first week was fun. And then the second week we were kind of like, oh my gosh, are we really doing this? And then the third week, it was like, this is how we've been living our whole lives. We just don't even think about it. And now it's just normal for us. So it would get frustrating at times, like if you were like in your closet trying to find something and you know, you had to bring a lantern in there, and sometimes the light from the lantern isn't light enough. And Joe would get frustrated and he would get a flashlight and he's like, I can't see. So anyways, I think it's great, you guys. And sometimes in life, when things are so discombobulated, it takes something drastic to bring us back to where we need to be. So I was surprised that Joe was on board with it. I thought he was going to think I was crazy. And to my surprise, he was all about it. And Parker thought it was fun too. He definitely had a few days towards, you know, week 3 and week 4 where he wanted to watch like his YouTube subscribers, the ones that I have looked at and approved. And I'm like, no, on the weekend you get to have, he would have an hour a day on the weekends, and he could use that however he wanted. He could watch TV, or he could watch, you know, a movie on Netflix, or he could watch like his subscribers on my phone or play some of his games on my phone, and that was it. So he would use his time wisely. He'd go, Mama, can you set the timer for 30 minutes? Cause I want to use some of my time now, but I want to save the other 30 minutes for tonight. So they adapt, you guys, they really do. And here's the thing, you're in charge, you're the boss. So if you think that your children are on electronics too much, or they're doing it too much and you don't know how to break them from it because you think they're going to pitch a fit, which they will, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you got to do it, because they'll get over it and you're the parents. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was just something fun we did, but it kind of turned into something that we're going to continue to do, because for our family, it's just really helped us to recenter and refocus. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. And then you can also hit the bell to be notified when I post live videos, or when I post videos. So I love having you guys on this journey. I hope you guys are all doing well. Stay safe and stay healthy. And I'll see you on my next video. Which pet you will have. When or who will help you care for your new pet? Caring for a pet is an important responsibility, whether you
about being in this new house. What will it be like? What will it be like? The twins asked. I don't know yet, Peter answered.
Parker, smile.
Daddy's catching them.
I see him. Turn him over. Oh, he's cute.
Gotta hurry and put him in the water.
Yeah.
Want to try it, buddy?
Huh?
Oh, right there. Yep.
Just hold it there, not in the
Take
thing.
it out, take it out.
Blow on it,
Blow,
Pea.
Ryan, blow.
Blow.